Cubskin here, your Sega Genesis geek, and today we're talking about Sega in Japan, right? Because, it's a whole different thing between Sega of America and Sega of Japan, right? Because, I mean, here in America, I mean, we had the Sega Genesis, right, which is my all-time favorite video game machine of all time, right? But that machine wasn't even called the Sega Genesis in Japan. It was called the Sega Mega Drive, right? And, well, actually, it was called Sega Mega Drive, like, all over the world, like, everywhere, except for here in America, where it was called the Sega Genesis, right? It was called the fucking Mega Drive, and, in the UK, Australia, Canada, right? But Japanese Mega Drive is different than, other parts of the world Mega Drive. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a game on the Sega Genesis, right? Yeah, it's the cover art for this game. But, this is what it looked like as a Mega Drive, which is similar, right, but different. But that same game released as a Sega Mega Drive in Japan was very different, right? And it's not just the fact that it's in Japanese, sometimes it's a very different game. Because, in fact, Japan was an entirely different marketplace for video games, right? You had the Sega Mega Drive, but other video games from that same era had different names too, right? The Super Nintendo was known as the Super Famicom in Japan, right? And what we had over here with the TurboGrafx 16, well, the TurboGrafx 16 in Japan was known as the PC Engine, yeah. And in fact, the PC Engine outsold the Sega Mega Drive, right? Because the Sega Mega Drive really never sold very well in Japan, right? And the PC Engine actually outsold it. Well, of course, the Super Famicom was the #1 selling video game system for that era, right? Yeah, Nintendo's huge in Japan. They fucking love Nintendo. Oh my god. I fucking forget about it, Clearly #1. But PC Engine was #2, doing very well for itself. While the fucking Sega Mega Drive was a distant third place. Just didn't sell very well at all. Which is a shame. Because over in Japan, Sega was known fairly well as like an arcade company. In fact, Sega had lots of arcades over there. They owned the whole fucking building, right? Like, the Sega logo was a common thing to see in the Japanese skyline of popular cities. Because Sega arcades were everywhere, In fact, they were huge facilities, like multi-level places, Several fucking stories of just video game arcades. And a lot of those places are still there to this day, right? Yeah, I got some old footage from like back in the 90s of a Sega arcade from Japan. Those places were fucking amazing. Look at all the video games. It's so great. Yeah. There's newer footage, like such as recently. I mean, to this day, Sega is still the king of arcades in Japan, right? And it's just full of video games and like these Plinko fucking gambling machines or something. Plinko, Pachinko, what the fuck they call it? Did anybody call it? Yeah. And lots of claw machines, right? Yeah, they fucking love the claw machines over in Japan, We got claw machines over here in the States, but in Japan they go fucking nuts for them, Yeah, they got all kinds of crap in those claw machines. It's fucking crazy. And Sega makes claw machines. And they make other fucking coin-operated fucking amusements of all fucking different kinds, Yeah. In Japan, that's what they're best known for, as an arcade company, making great arcade games, And that's what they're known for. Not really for the home video game market, right? So, I mean, the Sega Mega Drive just didn't really sell very well, Didn't have the kind of games they wanted to get. Well, really, what there were games like Golden Axe and other arcade titles on the Sega Mega Drive, but in Japan they were like, well, we already got those games in the arcade, And arcades are really everywhere, they're more common in Japan than they were ever in this fucking States, you know? It's crazy. Yeah, so in Japan, the Super Famicom and the PC Engine always outsold the fucking Mega Drive, you know? But things were different here in the States, you know? Where the Sega Genesis actually became the best-selling video game system for a couple of years. But like between 1991 and 1993, this Sega Genesis was like the best-selling video game system on the market. And it did great, you know? So, yeah. And it's all due to the fact that actually Sega of America is like a separate company from Sega of Japan, you know. The guy that was in charge of Sega of America, you know, named Tom Kalinske, this guy, he was actually trusted by the heads of Sega of Japan to make decisions based on the American marketplace, because he understood the fucking American marketplace. And so he was best suited to sell fucking, you know, Sega here in the States, right? Yeah. But over in Japan, they did things differently, right? And, yeah, but then things changed when Sega released the Saturn, right? Yeah, and when the Sega Saturn was released in Japan, it actually sold really fucking well. Possibly because it was like the first, like, really serious CD system, you know? And it came out like a whole year before the Sony PlayStation hit the market. So, it was like a really advanced system for a while. And it had a really great marketing campaign with this Kung Fu guy named Sagato, right? Sagato, in Segata, or something like that. Segata Sanshiro! Right? He basically ran around, like, threatening to beat up people if they didn't fucking play Sega Saturn, right? And, I guess that's the kind of marketing that works in Japan. You threaten to beat people up if they don't buy your product, and that shit works, right? Yeah, so Sega Saturn actually enjoyed really good sales for its first fucking year. But then it came over to the American marketplace, and it just fucking flopped, you know? Probably because the marketing in America fucking sucked, right? We had these stupid fucking commercials with this chick with like rings around her head, and this whole like advertising campaign with the theater of the eye, right? Like what the eyeball is a movie theater, and everybody's freaking out because the graphics are so good on the Sega Saturn. In fact, the whole body starts freaking out, you know? The nervous system starts going nuts. It's like, what? Wait, why did we do that? Why didn't we just fucking use those Japanese commercials, right? With the Kung Fu guy beating up people for not playing the Sega Saturn, right? No, we should have just played those in America, because they are really funny commercials, you know. And at the time, there was this big boom in interest in Asian shit, you know. Anime was just starting to come over us, right? You know, we're just starting to get into, like, really Japanese cartoons and Japanese everything, you know. Tagamachis were hot, you know. It's crazy. Should have just ran those fucking Kung Fu guy commercials, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, instead of these fucking trippy fucking experimental weed shit, you know. That didn't work at all. So Sega Saturn flopped here in the States. And that's the thing, you know. We're with Japan. Japan is a fairly small country. So, you know, if he's selling really well over there, he's like selling like 5 million copies, right? But selling it well in America could be more like 30 million copies. It's a world of difference, you know what I'm saying? And since he didn't do well in America, they were just like, fuck, right? And so, then Sega started developing the Dreamcast, right? And with the Dreamcast, they really knew that it was more or less the swan song for Sega in the home video game market, right? Like they put out the Sega Saturn, the Sega Dreamcast, knowing that it was going to be the last fucking home video game system, right? In fact, when they made it, they didn't really put a lockout chip on there, so anybody could make their own games for the Dreamcast, you know.
This is the day you have trained for, the day you have studied for. Utilize your superior skills.
There was no huge fucking loss for Sega, because Sega in Japan is still king of the fucking arcades. And when it comes to hardware, the best hardware they make are like video game cabinets, right? That's the fucking hardware that's going to be their bread and butter forever, you know. Fuck making fucking home video game systems. That's not really what they're all about. That's not where their main source of money comes from. It comes from those fucking arcades, right? All those fucking claw machines, right? Those little Plinko fucking gambling machines. They make so much fucking money off of these things, you know? Even to this day, you go into a fucking Japanese Sega arcade, and it's usually packed with people. There's so many people in there playing games, popping quarters in these machines, you know? Or whatever the fucking Japanese currency is, you know? The fuck was that?
There's no shortage of arcades in Tokyo. And that being said, there's... This arcade is also adults only.
But yeah. Sega is very different in Japan than it was here in the States. There's more differences, but I find that shit interesting, you know what I'm saying? Because, maybe Sega is from Japan. It's where this fucking core of their fucking company is. And they kind of fucking do things differently, you know what I'm saying? Like, in Japan, they've actually had other fucking video game systems that came out that never came over here to the States at all. So, actually, we're going to talk about that next time. Next time, we're going to talk about some of the video game systems from Japan that never came over here to the States. It's pretty interesting shit. You should check it out. So, until then, fucking keep it real.
SEGAと三四郎。
セガサターンしろ。